It's time for the Gotham Knights review again, or it would be, if it hadn't have been cancelled again. In multiple senses of the word this time. There was no episode on this week, it's been pushed back to next Tuesday, and the entire series has just been dumpstered by the network. So, what went wrong with Gotham Knights? I mean, did you watch it? It was dreadful. It would be quicker to answer what went right with Gotham Knights. They probably lost viewers by repeatedly cancelling episodes, but that alone doesn't explain it. Because from the viewing figures, people didn't even show up for episode 1, and why would that be? Well, for a start, it had the creative team from Batwoman on it. And Batwoman may be part of the problem that Gotham Knights had. Sometimes a film will do well or badly, not entirely on its own merits. If a film is good, people will go and see the sequel wanting more of the same, even if the sequel turns out to be bad. But Gotham Knights wasn't a follow-up to something good. It was a spiritual sequel to Batwoman, which was a catastrophic failure. And this came from the same network as Batwoman, with the same creative team. Gotham Knights also maybe lacked star power. How many people turned up for Batwoman's premiere because of Ruby Rose? Maybe some. Batwoman had been promoted in other CW shows as well, whereas Gotham Knights went in dry. The biggest name attached to Gotham Knights was the guy who played Castiel in Supernatural. It could be that people just hated the trailers or promotion for the show, or it could be that viewers are just not interested and don't care about these characters. I know I don't. I'm interested in Iron Man, Tony Stark Iron Man, maybe War Machine. I couldn't care less about Ironheart. I'm interested in Batman, maybe Robin. Dick Grayson Robin, not Carrie Kelly. Instead, Gotham Knights didn't give Batman a single line and threw him out of a window off camera. The fight sequences in Gotham Knights are pretty terrible and not well choreographed at all. Get him! Just remember, if you're ever unarmed and confronted by 2 armed gunmen across a room, disarm them by throwing a mask in their general direction, and then simply teleport next to them. Also be sure to have a camera cut after every single strike, and you too could have a god-awful fight sequence all of your own that can leave your audience disappointed, disorientated, and with motion sickness. And in comparison, here's something I consider to be a good fight sequence. Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris in the film The Way of the Dragon. Do you see the difference? Do you see how they manage more than one strike without a camera cut? How the performers don't teleport around during the scene, the smooth motion, the skill of the performers, the genuine expertise on display, the artistry of the choreography. I kind of feel sorry for a lot of the actors in Gotham Knights because they weren't bad. The acting across the board is at least okay, with some performances even being above average. Apart from Cullen pretending to be a cop, that was terrible, but the acting on the whole was not bad.
You are lying, I never hit you! You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
It's not like watching the film The Room or something where there is notable ham acting.
This is my house. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Credence Leonor Giugu.
It isn't like that. It isn't like watching amateur dramatics from a local theatre group. I can't point to much of the acting in Gotham Knights being that bad. Maybe when Deadname tries to do emotion and their voice breaks every time, but the main cast on the whole are pretty good. They even don't embarrass themselves when put next to far more experienced actors. Both Doug Bradley from Hellraiser and Veronica Cartwright from Alien are in this series, and they deserve better. I hope the actors don't end up carrying the can for Gotham Knights' failure. They did their part. This show was not their fault. This mess is on the network, it's on the showrunners, the story writers, and to a lesser extent, the directors. Part of the problem is the focus of the show. I think this is demonstrated by this interview with the actor Tyler DiChiara, who plays Cullen Rowe in the Gotham Knights series, giving an interview to Digital Spy. The article is called Tyler DiChiara wants you to give Gotham Knights a chance. People are going to be really surprised by what we've got in store. That's especially true of Tyler DiChiara's role as Cullen Rowe. In the comics, Batman's young teen ally is a gay cis man, but here Gotham Knights took the opportunity to make Cullen trans instead. Trans comic book characters remain few and far between on screen, especially now in the wake of Batgirl's surprise axing, so it's thrilling to see Tyler help bring some much needed trans representation to Gotham, and it doesn't hurt that his character is easily one of the most likeable in the show as well. So they changed the character from the source material. It wasn't enough that they had a gay brother and a bisexual sister, they needed to make the brother trans as well. Tyler was asked, did you feel pressure coming into a big comic book project like this, or were you more excited than anything else? It was a mix of just excitement and nervousness, because I know how much DC fans really honour their comics and the storyline of Batman. And the fans may do, but Gotham Knights clearly didn't, when it retconned characters to suit the maker's agenda. We're also trying to make it so these upcoming vigilantes don't have it easy. We stripped every aspect of being a hero away from these guys, so it's harder, like the bulletproof suits, all the bat tech is gone. You mean apart from all the times it wasn't, because the Gotham Knights use bat tech throughout the show. Talk us through your involvement with the stunt work this season. I've always been very athletic. I was in martial arts for a long time, and now I'm just doing boxing and whatnot, so learning choreography was quite easy for me. And a lot of the cast actually, we're a pretty athletic group, all of us, but working on a TV set, we were moving so quick, so sometimes we wouldn't even have like weeks to prepare. So we would just have the day before to learn it, to do it the next day, because we didn't have that much time. And no, that's not a lot of prep time. And so far in the series, all of Dead Name's fight scenes combined have probably lasted less than a minute. I'm kind of like a little Tom Cruise. I like doing my stunts myself. It's so fun for me because this was my first big series and my first real time doing big stunts like that. I just wanted to soak up every chance I could get. Trans themes are woven really organically into your character's storyline. What impact do you hope this has on people watching Gotham Knights back home? I hope people who don't understand what us trans men and women go through can understand a little bit more after watching Cullen's story. I wanted to introduce Cullen organically and not really have his trans identity be the main focus. The main focus is us running from the police and all that. It's these subtle hints like don't use his dead name and the conversations around his chest surgery.
Your brother.
Cullen Rowe.
Really? Because your birth certificate says you were born.
Don't use his dead name.
Subtle! You thought that was subtle? Jeez. That was about as subtle as a brick through a shop window. The whole plot ground to a halt and Harvey Dent broke character to lever that particular nugget into the series. Harvey Dent forgot that your character was in custody for the murder of his oldest friend and was less interested in bringing the killer to justice than he was in you not being dead named. The story and character motivations frequently make no sense whatsoever in this show. Character development is also largely absent. After 11 episodes, almost every character is pretty much where they started. Us trans men and women, we live among everyone, every day, and you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't bat an eye. Yep, nobody would ever know or suspect a thing. What do you hope fans will take away from watching Gotham Knights? I hope that they take away a sense of like, I want to come back and watch more. Do you have any hopes for season 2 you'd like to share? I hope for a season 2, 3 and 4. I love job stability, but nothing's promised. Oh dear. And then the interviewer asks 2 further questions. Looking back, is there a particular moment of queer representation on screen that really resonated with you? And is there a piece of advice that you'd like to give to young queer people and young trans people in particular who are struggling right now in this current climate? And doesn't that say it all for this interview? It barely even touched on the story of the show, which should be the most integral part of it. Most of the interview was talking about the show's activism, which, to be fair, was kind of the main focus of the show. Part of the problem is that Gotham Knights is a show that nobody asked for. They wanted people to watch the show and understand trans people more, to understand what a trans person's life is like, and my question is, who asked for that? Does anyone ever say, I want to sit down and watch something that shows me what a trans person's life is like? This is allegedly a superhero show. People are sitting down hoping for entertainment, heroism, action, heroes saving the day. Gotham Knights didn't deliver entertainment, and I don't think it gave me much insight on trans issues either. It was less entertainment and more an 11-episode struggle session. A big part of the problem is the producers and the showrunners. The show had 13 episodes in total, with 12 different directors and 14 separate writers. That's not so uncommon though on modern shows, but it risks having a show be very messy because people can be pulling in different directions at the same time. It needs a strong hand pulling all of the pieces together in the same direction and coordinating so many different creative minds, and instead of that, directing all of the parts was the creative team from Batwoman. Gotham Knights does not seem to have any unified artistic vision. In total, Gotham Knights had 3 co-creators, Natalie Abrams, Chad Fivash and James Stotero. Of these, Natalie Abrams has not done much in her career so far. She started out as a journalist and has only recently transitioned into TV work, and that's a look. She's written 1 episode of Supergirl, 50 episodes of Batwoman and this, and Gotham Knights was her first production credit and possibly last. The other 2 are a bit more confusing, because they've worked on other things that were not nearly this bad. They worked on the series Gotham together, which was a far better show than Gotham Knights. They also worked on Legend of the Seeker, which was also a much better show than Gotham Knights. According to an interview with Abrams, this whole thing was very much her pet project, and the other 2 were brought in to add experience, and it does not seem to have worked, but I just had a very scary thought. Maybe Gotham Knights would have been worse without them. Maybe they improved it. So there we are, a perfect storm. The stars all aligned to deliver something truly dreadful. The problem for me is, Gotham Knights has been cancelled. What am I going to review now? Season 2 of Rings of Power, I suppose. That'll be nice. After this, I could do with a good laugh.
Okay, what is even happening here? This is a mess. None of these storylines make any sense. Is this working for you?
No, I don't want to hear it. You walked into a building with a bomb in it. Because you've been treating me like some weak, scared little kid.